An audio file for audiophiles. Today is Monday, April 10th, 2023. Throughout the British Commonwealth, today is Easter Monday, or Easter observed. It's often a beach day in countries like Jamaica. But here in the US, it's a regular work day. Easter is different over here. It's not a big holiday. It's not observed on Monday. You only get the Sunday. And Good Friday is a work day too, or it's like a half work day for those who maybe, or when I say half, I mean like the people who are not Catholic go to work and those who are Catholic go to church, So it's not really a big day, and no one really cares about the Good Friday. Easter is a bigger day, but only for those who are once again Catholic, and then they don't get the observation of the holiday on a Monday. So it's not a big holiday. Anyhow, with that said, once again, no matter what the situation may be, those are all pagan holidays. But I want to welcome all of you to this program. Welcome to this live call-in show. I hope you enjoy your stay, have a good time, learn something new, and that what I have to say will edify the heart and ears of the listener. This week's topic: the paparazzi are not real journalists. Now, just a brief definition of what the paparazzi or who the paparazzi are. They are a group of news reporters, whether they're from the newspaper or the radio or the television companies in that city. It's a group of them who are gathered informally in public places or sometimes even private places, like at someone's home or outside someone's residence or something like that. They are gathered informally, not to be confused with a press conference. A press conference is a scheduled and organized event where the journalists are allowed to ask questions. It might be in an outdoor space in the middle of winter. You will have the paparazzi out there in their hoodies and their winter attire, and there will be a podium set up for the person in question to give a statement, a formal statement on whatever it is that may be happening. But whatever it is, press conferences are organized events. The paparazzi, however, are quite often not organized. They gather in any place, whether public or private, without the permission of the person in question, and they harass them with questions. Or they try and take pictures of them in their personal life, like what quite often happened to the late Diana, the Princess of Wales, and her sons, Prince Philip and Prince Harry. that many believe may have even led to Diana's untimely death. Being chased by paparazzi to get a picture of people in their personal lives. And some paparazzis, or some members within the paparazzi, are either, once again, either from television stations or radio stations or the newspaper companies. But oftentimes, many of them are freelance reporters and they didn't join a union, therefore, they didn't get a press pass. Therefore, they just hanging out there along with the group, and obviously, someone let them in. I guess the social acceptance of them riding with the group is what gave them access to someone who they probably shouldn't be having access to in the first place. And that becomes dangerous because we don't know the intentions of some of these freelance reporters out there. Some of them want to make a name for themselves, kind of the biggest scoop of the century on someone's personal life. And that to me is unethical. I want to make a name for myself. I want to get the scoop of the century, but I'm not out there taking pictures of public figures in their personal lives. I am here on this program trying to speak on what I know and what I feel and stick to my truth and hope that one day it will inspire someone. That's all I'm doing. Regular dude with a podcast, you know. But, podcasts didn't always exist. So nowadays people can jump on the internet and start a podcast, start a YouTube channel, and try to make a name for themselves that way. But podcasts and YouTube channels and all these things didn't always exist. So before the year 2000, I guess people who were freelance reporters would either join a union, receive a press pass to attend press conferences, and even informal paparazzi gatherings, or they would not join the union, not get a press pass, not attend scheduled and organized press conferences, but however, would somehow manage to gain access to informal paparazzi gatherings to take pictures of someone's personal life. Them in their living room, their children playing in their yards and all these things, them on vacation and all these things. And that can be dangerous because whether or not the freelancer is unionized and whether or not he has a press pass, I think it is in some places illegal for them to stalk people and take pictures of them in their personal lives, going about their personal business. It's stalking, it's harassment, and they're endangering the safety of these people and even their kids, even their very children. And you're taking away their right to privacy. They do have a right to privacy in their personal life. They do. So not only is it unethical, it's also maybe illegal in some cases, and in many instances, in many locations rather, where it is not illegal, I feel as if it should be illegal. So, with that said, one must work with the local government and call their local legislators to try and get the laws passed. Now, obviously, if you're a celebrity or a public figure and you're working, obviously, then yes, obviously, I'm working, so take a picture, do whatever, interview me. And even then, one should still have the discretion to be like, enough is enough. And oftentimes, even in movies, you see the person in question who they're targeting walking down the courthouse staircase to the car in the back of the limousine, shut the door, and their chauffeur driving off slowly while they're still being heckled by the paparazzi. Nowadays, they have barriers. They have a paparazzi section where they're barricaded off by barriers and they can't cross and they can get little sneak peeks no more than maybe 50 to 100 feet away from the target of the paparazzi. And they can't get close. So nowadays they do that, but they shouldn't have access to that person. I mean, journalism is a reputable and prominent profession, and I'm proud to be one. I'm proud to have made myself a journalist. But not all journalists are trustworthy, especially when you start opening up the door to freelancers. So if they have access to you and someone doesn't like you, they could pick your pocket, they could maybe plant something on you that you didn't plant on yourself, they could plant drugs on you, they could pull pranks, what they think is a harmless prank may be death to me. What's a joke to you is death to me. Planting drugs on me in my pocket, if you have that kind of access to me, is a serious crime, because if I'm caught with that, if I'm searched and they find it on me, I look bad. But that's because someone had access to me who probably shouldn't. Obviously, they're not going to want to physically harm you in the witness of so many eyewitnesses, but if they're sneaky enough, they could plant a virus on you, like what happened to the fictional president on 24 at the end of season 2, when he shook the girl's hand and he got poisoned. They could try and be sneaky like that. So be careful. And that show even taught us everyone doesn't love you. Everyone is not your friend. Everyone doesn't mean you well. I'd like to welcome Rocky into the studio. Welcome, welcome. All right. And everyone doesn't mean you well, so one still has to be very careful. Who they allow access to them while they're in public, even if they're on duty. So we now find that they have a special section for them, where the paparazzi are barricaded and they are not allowed to have physical access to their target. They can photograph them, but they can't get close enough to interview them and ask them questions. They can only photograph them, depending on the situation. Right? So whether the target of the paparazzi are like Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, or whether it's Donald Trump, like last week, for example, when he was indicted in New York, or whatever it is, they don't allow them access unless they really. It depends on the nature of their assignment. Sometimes all they're doing is taking pictures, but sometimes they have their microphones and the boom operator ready to ask questions. And in that moment, they may need to get close enough. Or they could have, if they have the boom operator type of microphone, they could shout questions from a distance, depending on how far away they are. And if they're lucky to get a response, because I probably wouldn't break my neck to answer them if it was me. So, once again, the paparazzi are not real journalists. Is it ethical what they do? Is it ethical to harass people? And we'll get into what some of the unethical practices that they do to put a sense of obligation on their target to answer questions. They use gaslighting tactics by saying things like, The public has a right to know, maybe as it pertains to national security matters, but not as it pertains to what I had for dinner last night, or with whom I had dinner, or anything pertaining to my personal life. They don't have that right to ask me that particular question or those kinds of questions relating to my personal life. But if I'm on duty and it is pertaining to my job or issues of national security, if that is my job, then yeah, obviously, right? Obviously. But my personal life, no, that is crazy. And I wouldn't answer those questions. So, but then you're telling me the public has a right to know, like, for example, a pop star like Ariana. The public has a right to know why you split up or separate from Mac Miller. And they said, no, the public doesn't have a right to know. It's your personal life. It is your personal life. Have some respect. And don't gaslight people and tell them the public has a right to know. No, the public doesn't have a right to know. So those are some of the underhanded, sneaky gaslighting tactics that they use to gaslight these celebrities. And oftentimes, the more they say that, the more they get ignored. So their celebrities know they're sleazeballs, and they know that they are just simply harassing them for the sake of the biggest news headline at their expense. They know that. And they're not their friends either. If you meet a really good journalist who's your friend who will actually report as you things as you said them without distorting your words, then and you respect your personal space. Obviously, yeah, that's he's not who I'm talking about. He's not even a paparazzi. Let me ask you a question. Do you see Barbara Walters and Walter Cronkite and Katie Couric and Al Roker and Tim Russert and James Kumarasamy and Tim Franks and Julian Marshall running behind people? The paparazzi. You see them doing that? No. Right? I don't see them doing that. They have a news program to present on television or radio. So not all journalists are part of the paparazzi. Those would be your freelancers and your entry-level reporters. And because they want to get their big break, they see a public figure. They want to get their big break at his expense or her expense, especially when they're caught with their pants down in public. The public figure, I mean, caught with their pants down in public. So they want to get their big break at the expense of the embarrassed or disgraced public figure. And the public figure knows this. And because they're hungry for their big break, they will do and say whatever it takes to get that story. So they'll say things, gaslighting tactics. They will say things like, the public has a right to know about my personal life. Once again, no, they don't. And even if it's pertaining to my job in the public eye, it still has it. I still would answer you only at my own discretion, because I know that they will twist your words to make it sound like you said something. Remember, they're hungry for their big break. Remember that. It's the only job they have. They don't want to go back to working at McDonald's or whatever it is. They want a prominent profession like being a journalist. So it's the only job they have, and they're willing to fight and do whatever it takes. And to show you how the system is slimy now, let me show you how the system is slimy now, because the editor see them working hard. The editor know that they're hungry. They want the first scoop of the day. They want their big break. And the editor is like, you want your big break? I got you, kid. I see you working hard. You know what you got to do for that big break? You gotta twist the word of your story to make it sound like so and so said that instead of what he meant. It's a double-edged sword what he said, so it could be interpreted in both ways. So you gotta twist his word around and make it sound like he said this when he really meant that. You really want your big break? If you do that, I got you, kid. I got you. I see you working hard. And then he befriend you, he be high-fiving you to motivate you so you can have this internal sense of belonging to the group. Everyone likes you, kid. All you have to do is twist your word around. And the target of the paparazzi know that. They know that. Because quite often, if you're going to be the target of the paparazzi, you're not going to be 20 years old. You're not even going to be 25, most likely, unless you're a rare exception, a child prodigy, or someone gifted, a pop star, an athlete like Usain, or a pop star like Ariana, or whoever it is. If you're none of those, you have to work your way up for many decades. And by the time you have accomplished enough under your belts to be a target of the paparazzi, you're already in your 40s, especially if you're a man. And because of your many years of experience for you being in your 40s or beyond that, you know the tactics that they're using on you. And you know that because you were 20 yourself once. You were hungry for your big break yourself once, and you know what you said once. So it's being used on you now. You don't bullshit a bullshitter. Quote from Walter White from Breaking Bad. You don't bullshit a bullshitter. So he's a bullshitter. He know he's full of shit, and he know the tactics that he once used, and that he even still uses. So this new kid on the block coming up now to his face, pushing up camera in his face, wanting a big break, telling me that the public has a right to know. I'm laughing inside. Anyhow, and even if you're a young child prodigy, you're supposed to have a manager who will coach you how to meet the press. Coach you how to do press conferences, coach you as to what to say, as to how to say it, to adjust your facial tone, your body language, because it's not only what you say, it's how you look while saying it. Because you're on TV too, there are a bunch of cameras that's there. You're on radio, you're on TV, you're being quoted in newspapers. So it's also your body language. So they have managers, and the manager is coaching them as to what to say because he knows they're still young. They don't know how to deal with the press. They don't know how to meet the press. They don't know how to do interviews. They're still young. So the manager is probably older and more experienced and knows how to coach them to do press conferences and interviews and all those things. So even they will have the support of an older manager and someone who is not a child prodigy who did work their way up to the top would have had to have learned it the hard way coming up. But either way, they know how to conduct themselves during an interview. They know what to say, what not to say. Because they know, my point is now that they know that the paparazzi are not their friends. They will twist your word around. They will use you for a story. They don't care who you are. They don't care if you're George Clooney. They don't care if you're President Biden. They don't care if you're ex-President Trump. They don't care about any of that. They see their chance for a big break and they want that story at your expense. And they're being impartial, they twist your word around. And once you understand that, you know you don't owe them anything. You don't owe them an interview, you don't owe them anything. So, oftentimes, when people who are targeted by the paparazzi hear those words mentioned, the public has a right to know. They just roll their window up and get in their limo and just drive off. And the reason why the chauffeur drive off so slowly, he gotta make sure he don't hit any of them because they will tell lies to them, lick him, right? So once again, journalism is a very reputable field, career field to be in, and very, very prominent. But there are lots of people in here who are unethical, who don't belong in here, who are untrustworthy. Otherwise, you wouldn't have this thing called fake news. Credibility is supposed to mean everything to you. They have no integrity if they're putting out fake news out there. Take your profession very seriously, especially if you paid a lot of money for the degree to start working, or if you went through a lot of trouble to make yourself a journalist. Take it very seriously. It didn't come easy, it didn't come overnight. So, yeah, you got to have thick skin to be out there in the world, in the public eye. And you have to understand they're not your friend. They're going to want to friend you to get what they want from you, but they're not your friend. You don't owe them anything. You don't owe them a story. You don't owe them their big break. And you don't owe um, the public any details about your life, your personal life, and any um, any activity, any information you share related to your public responsibilities is even so left up to your discretion. You don't owe anybody anything. Okay, so we'll take a break right here, and when we come back, we will be continuing further on this topic of discussion, and I hope you'll join me then. Keep it locked on Frank and Upfront. Welcome back to Frank and Upfront Live, an audiophile for audiophiles. This week's topic, the paparazzi are not real journalists. In the previous segment, we talk about who they are and what they do and how they do it, and why they're not your friends, and why you shouldn't trust them, and why you don't owe them anything. In this segment, we'll be talking about whether the news items that they cover are newsworthy or not. So, what do they cover? Sometimes they cover matters of pertinent importance to the public. Sometimes they cover presidential misconducts and all those things. But 9 times out of 10, they cover gossip, of people's personal lives. 9 times out of 10, they only cover gossip about people's personal lives. That's all they do. They only cover that. Nine times out of 10, all they do is run down people to take their picture when they're in their nightgown and their roller. They got rollers in their hair with nightgowns, and the grocery store getting milk for their babies at 5 a.m. They want to steal a little snapshot of them there. They sick people, I swear. They want to hide outside their gate. They would even go as far as to hide in trees. To take people's pictures. Outside of their residence, to spy through their window. You know how sick that is? Spy through their window. I don't know if you're a burglar. I don't know if you're a rapist. I don't know why you are. If I see shadowy silhouettes out there on my window, and I shoot you, and you fall out the tree, and you only turn out to be a paparazzi after all. That's your fault, but I'm the one who gets blamed for that. And I'm lucky if you're still alive when I shoot you. So they're not even thinking about their own personal safety. They'll do whatever it takes for that story of irrelevance to the public interest. And they don't care about their own safety. But why do they do that though? Why do they focus mostly on gossip? I said a short while ago that it is of no interest to the public, but I was wrong. It is, obviously. Gossip sells. No, perhaps I should have said that it shouldn't be of any interest to the public. The people's personal life shouldn't be of any interest to the public, but it is, because gossip and slander sells. And sometimes the details of the slander and the gossip is far juicier than what they should really be concerned about. Like, for example, what your leaders in Washington are doing on C-SPAN or in the Congress building, in the Capitol building. That should be of interest to you. What are they doing? How is it going to affect your life? But you rather listen to gossip about the Kardashians and the Meghan Markle and the Prince Harry and the the Donald Trump and the Melania and all these people. And you should be concerned more about what's going on, what's being presented to you on C-SPAN than on VH1. But, what does that tell you about the mentality of the majority of the public? Keep in mind that these are adults, not children. But yet they're so immature and so irresponsible that their focus is on gossip. They're saying sex and violence sells? Well, gossip sells too, especially when it's gossip about sex and violence. And or violence. And because they know it sells, they know sex and violence sells, they know gossip sells, that's why they risk their hide to hide out in the hedges or the bushes on my property, to sneak a little sneak picture of me, little snapshot of me through my window in my room, watching TV or doing something private or having dinner or whatever it is. Of course, need I say, I am putting myself in the shoes of the target in question, how they must feel. Say what you will about celebrities, they have a right to privacy when they're not working. And they have a right to discretion when they are working. Many people don't like celebrities, but you watch their movies though. You buy the $20 tickets and go to the IMAX theater to watch their movies and buy their CDs and their whatever it is that they sell, their merchandise, their shirts and all those things. But you don't like them. The reason why you complain about them is because they have all this life that you wish you could have. You don't want their life. You trust me. If you're jealous of their lifestyle, you don't want their life because you would be harassed from morning till night by the paparazzi, and um, you wouldn't have any. You would no longer have the right to privacy. But in fact, you do. But they tell you that you don't. And if you don't know how to deal with that, you won't. You won't handle it well. You will be in the grocery store getting milk for your babies at 5 in the morning in your nightgown and your robe with rollers in your hair. And there is some creep taking a snapshot of you in that moment. What the fuck? You don't want their life. Be grateful for the privacy you have with your own life as it is. And if you want a sense of fulfillment, find out what your niche is and work on it in such a way that you can still enjoy the privacy while finding fulfillment in what you do. So, but feel what you will about the celebrities, they have a right to privacy. And you must respect their privacy. And they shouldn't live their lives on a big giant land with lots of land space. Yet they're locked up in their houses, hidden behind closed curtains because they're afraid of being photographed by the paparazzi. That's insane. And they also shouldn't risk losing their lives in a car chase fleeing the paparazzi either. That's not cool either. And the Princess of Wales, the former one at least, she should have still been alive to this day, and she would have been if it wasn't for that paparazzi. So the paparazzi now have blood on their hands. Even though we suspect that the royals were the ones who sabotaged her car, had her crash, and then she was still alive, and then they said that she needed surgery. And the surgery was meant to actually finish her off now because she was pregnant, even though she was no longer married to the future king, which is now the current king at this time. But at the time, she was then pregnant, even though divorced from the prince, pregnant by a Muslim man. And some of these royals probably have Muslim blood and don't want to admit it. If they have Spanish blood from Spain, they probably have Muslim blood too, because many Spaniards are mixed with Moorish blood and Sephardic Jewish blood. So even though we have conspiracy theories that the Princess of Wales was killed by the royals, we nonetheless suspect, if we are going to go with the official narrative, we must suspect that it was just a fatal car collision brought on, caused by the paparazzi. And because they caused it, they now have blood on their hands. And they will for the rest of their lives. So for as long as we have people in society who only care about celebrity gossip about their personal lives, and for as long as the magazines sell, the People magazine, the National Enquirer, and all these stupid gossip magazines, you will always have some idiot risking his life, risking getting shot by a dangerous homeowner, hiding outside in the bushes or in the trees of his property to take a snapshot of him playing in his living room with his children, eating at his dining table, making love with his wife, or watching TV, or mowing his lawn, or um, at the grocery store, not in his or her most proud, not in his or her most glamorous moment at the grocery store, just like any regular person. You know why? Let me tell you why I think they do that. Let me tell you why I think the celebrities, why the paparazzi take pictures of celebrities at 5 a.m. at the grocery store with their nightgown and their robe and the rollers in their hair and looking like a regular person, getting milk for their babies, looking like any regular person. You know why they do that? It's coming from a place of envy because they're so jealous of them that they have to prove to the world, hey, look, Lindsay Lohan or Cardi B or what's her name? Ariana is in the grocery store in her nightgown like any regular person, any regular Joe Schmo getting milk for her babies or whatnot. Look, she's regular. Which they have a point. But why are you trying to prove it though? Why do you have to prove? Who cares if they don't want to accept that they're regular people? So, gossip about celebrities sell because people, the average Joe Schmo who is bored of his mundane existence, craves slander about the people in the public eye whom he envies. He's jealous of them, remember that. And he craves gossip about their downfall or their embarrassment or any less than novel appearance, public appearance, or even private appearance that they make. To satisfy the appetite of the people who are jealous of them, who want to feel satisfied from seeing them in a lesser state of being. You know how I know that? When my brother and I were teenagers growing up in Jamaica, and we're watching all these white girls on TV, my mother would come out in the living room from the kitchen and look at the TV and see us watching the white girls on TV and kiss her teeth. That was, she's not pretty, she's lucky. How would I go on so over? She's not happy. In my beat her about she rich. And from them time, then she don't know say, she bad mind. She bad mind, you know. And when me grow up big now and actually show signs of success or show, she can bad mind me too. So um at the end of it all, any successful person, especially if they were once within her midst and show sign of success or they show potential, will all of her envy will be directed towards them. And people like her and her sisters and them and her mom, people like them is exactly who paparazzi write gossip material about celebrities in their less than novel state of being about to satisfy. And because I grew up with that street, I know exactly what they're aiming towards or who they're aiming to satisfy, who their primary target is. Who are those gossip magazines meant for? Not for Mr. Franklin, I'll tell you that much for sure. I don't care about those things because I don't have those feelings of envy, because I don't really care if they want to be successful or not, or what have you. Because I don't really care. It's not meant for me. It's meant for those who do care, those who are insecure, those who are envious, those who are jealous. those who want to see them in a lesser state of being, so they can feel satisfied that when they're out there doing mundane things, paying bills, getting groceries, getting milk for their babies, they don't feel so bad because look, Ariana does it too. If Ariana does it, what's the big deal if I do it? Oh, look at me. Ha ha ha. Oh my gosh. Remember, these are adults we're talking about. Adults. Big rascal people, them. Adults. Tough grayback people, them. Remember that. Anyway, we take a break right here, and when we come back, we'll be continuing further on this topic, and I hope you'll join me then. Keep it locked on Frank and Upfront. Welcome back to Frank and Upfront Live, an audiofile for audiophiles. This week's topic, the paparazzi are not real journalists. For the past two segments, we've been talking about a serious breach of personal boundaries that have been committed by the paparazzi and how it have gone so bad to the extent that in some instances, some of the paparazzi even have blood on their hands relating to fatal auto collisions that took the life of the former Princess of Wales. Now, in this, and by the way, before I even continue, you can now understand the motivation behind why Prince Harry took his wife and son away from the royals, away from that life, so they can live out the rest of their lives in a private and dignifying manner somewhere in the secret parts of California where they can have privacy. And I must take off my hat and say kudos to Prince Harry for doing that. Any man who is serious about building with a woman would first separate himself from his toxic family before he starts officially dating that woman. He would make room so that woman could be happy and comfortable before he invites her into his life. He would make room for her first. In Harry's case, he met Meghan first. He didn't really have time, but he fixed it as he went along. That's okay too. In my case, however, me being inspired by Harry, made room first. And then I started dating. So when I meet my wife now, she doesn't have to meet my mother or my grandmother. You see what I mean? So she won't be subjected to what I've been through and she won't be traumatized by it.